We'll talk to a man who's had a lot of fun and created a lot of fun for a lot of fans around these parts and then some, as we are proud to be joined by the head football coach at the University of Georgia, Kirby Smart, joining us here on the Fan 680 93.7 FM. Coach, how you doing? Fine Wednesday afternoon as you guys got things kicked off. You and your contingent showing up from Athens for SEC Media Days Day 3.
Almost done, baby. I'm on that last leg. Y'all caught me on the back end of the quarter mile.
You do coffee? What do you do this morning?
You know what? I love coffee, but I did not drink any this morning. I didn't get a chance. It was like rapid fire, boom, 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 boom. I didn't have any in my room, so I lost my caffeine kick, but I had a little sip of a Coke. I don't like coffee. Like, if I had my choice, hot chocolate tastes better than coffee.
All right.
But I need coffee. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's that caffeine.
I was downstairs, and I heard you talking about how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah.
And you got 18 to 22-year-olds. And it's one thing to talk about sports, but you said something interesting. You said in the business world, historically, I don't know if specifically you can give me an example of who you talked about with them, but I mentioned Kodak. They thought they were going to be in the film business forever because that'll never go away. Stuff goes away. And if you don't take care of your own, it goes away quicker than it was supposed to.
It's quick. We actually used the Blockbuster model, and Blockbuster Video is one of the great stories they teach in business school all the time of how they were running. They were on top of the world. I remember as a kid, I went to Blockbuster to pick up a movie. You know, you go in there and get it. You got to rewind it. You got fees for late fees. They started not doing their fees. They said, no, we don't need that. We don't need this fees. We don't need this fees. We're doing well. And they lost kind of their culture, and it cost them. Netflix and some other things took over, and they quit being innovative. They thought they could just stay where they were. But that's a small one. But we looked at a lot of different ones and what creates that. It's not necessarily because the business model doesn't fit us, but it's what they did wrong. And it's usually, losing humility. And when you lose humility, you forget who you are sometimes. And I think that's important for us, is sticking to what our DNA traits are and being who we are.
Instead of just telling them, you're not guaranteed anything this year. Mm-hmm. Was it the 18 to 22-year-olds? I think with teenagers as well. Give me something specific. I need to leave the room.
Show me a picture.
Yes.
Show me a video. It needed to be 30 seconds or less. And then show me another one in 30 seconds. That's what they need. I mean, because they can't stay with a long conversation. There's nothing that's going to last a long time they're going to focus on. So try to get things that relate to them, that reach them, and try to hit it consistently. We're trying to hit a single every day, man. Boom, 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 boom. And then it sinks in over time. And we spend a lot of time invested in that thing of making sure that there's not a complacency issue.
And you talked about, when you were asked about being the hunted down, you're like, no, we're going to go hunting. And that's what you always plan to do, not just after winning a national title. Having the maturity that's left. You lost a lot of players who were talented, but you also lost a lot of maturity. When you recruit guys, you expect them to toe a certain line, but how do you know and when do you find out if the maturity level comes into play like you want it to early in the season?
Well, I think adversity's got to hit. I've never been through a fall camp that you didn't have one of those days that it was just hot. And it's like day 8. It ain't fun hitting nobody anymore. You're tired of hitting people. And then you find out what kind of team you got. Because, we're going to challenge them. We're going to ask them to respond. We're going to put them in difficult situations. And you see kind of how who starts to rise in those adverse situations. It's going on right now. I'm just not always present for it with our strength staff. And that's why you have a 5-person strength staff that comes in and they train your kids and, hey, we got to start over. Hey, we got guys that missed. Everybody on the team's got to suffer. So you find out a lot about your team during that. But fall camp is the one time you kind of set the tone, and we'll see a lot more. We saw it in spring, but we'll see it in fall camp.
Expectations and goals. I think all of us sort of get caught up in the big picture. Shouldn't the expectation be on Wednesdays? We know what we need to do on Wednesday if we're going to have good results on Saturday. We need to have Thursday. And when you get players who are either old enough, smart enough, mature enough to know, they police themselves. I didn't have a good one individually. We didn't have a good one as a group. Is that really what it's supposed to come down to, knowing that every day there is an expectation, not just writing on the board SEC championship game?
Oh, absolutely. Everybody wants to talk about goals and expectations, but the expectation in Georgia is you outwork yourself the next day, and it's never enough. We talk about nobody cares. Like, I don't want to hear excuses. Nobody cares. I don't want to hear that. What I want to hear is production. I want you to work at it. I want you to be a good teammate, and we really try to make it simple at our place, because we feel like we got good players, we got good buy-in. If we have unselfish people, we'll be successful. And that's was the greatest example I've ever seen of that last year. There were a lot of unselfish dudes on that team. Look at those defensive players. They weren't selfish. They're 5 first rounders. They weren't worried about egos. Same thing on offense. Zamir and James never got jealous of each other. So that example they set has got to kind of pass down to this group of players.
Can you explain how great a day it is on a Wednesday or Thursday when you see a player pull another player aside? He's doing the coaching because he knows something that needs to be said, and I'm going to say it right now instead of having to wait till we go over film.
Oh, yeah. It happened all the time last year, and it's been really happening this spring. These kids, they police each other. That's part of the culture that's been created, and I never believed in culture more until probably last offseason when I saw it with my own 2 eyes. It's carried over to this group. Now, we may not be as talented. I don't know. We're not going to have 15 draft picks next year. I know that, but we've got good football players, and they care about each other, and when you have that dynamic, you got a chance.
University of Georgia head football coach Kirby Smart joining us here on Cellini and Domino. Home team in for Nick Cellini here from the College Football Hall of Fame, SEC Media Days. Your quarterback situation was the one that kept coming up all last year, every week. And you kept saying the same thing. It's a competitive room, and you're going to play the best guy.
I'm sure you guys wanted JT in the whole time. I'm sure I didn't listen to y'all's show.
Oh, no.
I'm sure y'all were the whole time. Come on.
Should I show him? He's got props. He's like Gallagher. He's going to show you now. But I can tell you this. I feel really good about
the mailman. I just picked up on that.
Yes.
I was in on the Kirby Smart decision all year.
And I was Team Stetson. We compared it to the movie Twilight. There was 2 kids. I don't know what their names were, but somebody was Team this and somebody was Team that. I said, I'm Team Stetson. Give me the T-shirt. I'll wear it. So I feel good.
So y'all actually agreed on it?
Yeah, we did. We did. And the reason why, look, the kid, when it's all said and done, his story, and I know you don't like separating individuals from the program, but his story, a kid who's working on his 7th year of college football, a guy who's 5 foot nothing, 100 and nothing, who had to fend off and win the job against 5-star quarterbacks, one of them that came 3,000 miles away. I mean, if you're writing a script for a Netflix story 10, 15 years from now,
crazy.
That is an incredible story. I say all that to say, when you have that behind you, and now you have a guy who has a chance to come back as a national championship winning quarterback and the potential of doing it again, what's it like for you as a coach to have a guy who's been through all of that and heard all of that or some of it and was able to brush it off and push it to the side?
Well, it's comforting to have a guy with the experience he has and the value he has, but I'll be the first to tell you that he's really a talented player, but all we did was kept putting him in the back of the line. There was 2 times he was in the back of the line, and it was like, okay, I'm at 3. What's up, Coach? When am I going to get some reps? And I was like, well, we got to see what these other guys can do. We got to find out what these other guys can do. And every time we put him in the game, he played. He was successful. He played well the year before he got hurt. He's playing well in the Florida game that we ended up losing. So people lose sight of a lot of those things that he was able to do, and he did that without a body of practice and work. And so now this spring he got a lot of body of work. He's going to have work fall camp. I'm interested to see what he can do. He's got some talented players around him too.
Is he the type of guy, even with all of that, if you need to bark at him, he knows what the message is. He has an advantage to know, if I'm getting barked at, I got to clean something up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this guy played on the scout team when he was playing Oklahoma forever ago. He was getting barked at every day because he was the guy running the scout team quarterback, and that's one of the hardest positions to play on our team because I ride that kid. I'm trying to develop him so he can handle the pressure, and he was being Baker Mayfield, and it went right off his back while he was doing it, and that seemed like 20 years ago.
Can you talk a little bit about the underwear Olympics? That's when you line him up and you go, that guy looks like he can play. That guy looks like he can play. And then you go, well, now we got to play.
Well, it's the one position that I think is overrated for the look contest because it's 90% what's between your ears. And he's physically gifted now. This kid can throw the ball and he can run. But what he can do that you can't count on is he anticipates throws. Go back and watch. There's 2 or 3 throws that he throws as he's getting hit, and the receiver has not even got his head turned around. That's the biggest problem with most quarterbacks who go to the NFL. They want to wait till they're open. They're never open. They're covered. So you got to throw them open. You got to give them opportunities, and he's got the confidence to do that. There was a play against Michigan. He gets hit. The ball's in the air to James Cook. He threw a pass to Brock Bowers one time on a delayed play that he was getting hit, and he threw the ball in there. I'm like, oh, my God, he threw the ball before the guy even came out of the break. So he can anticipate things and know where people are, and that comes with experience, and he's got a lot of that.
High school football is a little different than the other sports. You have a 10-year-old son, baseball player, travel baseball. They play in these summer things now at 15, 16. They get out of the house. They play against the best competition, AAU basketball. Football doesn't really afford you that. So you don't really have, we talk to general managers in both of those sports, and they go, at least we have an idea of what he is against true the best competition.
Right.
That football doesn't give you that opportunity. High school is still the thing. Are you more disappointed if you miss on the player talent or miss on the kid personality-wise? Because it happens in the NFL. They miss. They might have missed on. Yeah.
We miss. I mean, it's one of the most, it's the thing that separates programs most of the time. When you get elite programs, they're recruiting the same kids. It's the ones that you miss on. And I've tried to do studies and look at it, psychological analysis, take this test, talent, all these things. There's no perfect remedy, but I've focused on the ones we get, not the ones we don't. So if we lose kids, I don't worry about that. I worry about the ones we do get. Like who did we get? Did we bring good people into our program? So I want to miss on the talent more than I want to miss on what the kid's mental makeup is.
How often do you guys walk away because you don't think it's going to be a fit? We don't hear about those stories.
Many times. There's a lot of times. And I lose gracefully. Hey, we really want you. You're a great player. Everybody in the country wants you. But you know what? Let's don't get in that fight because I'm not sure that's exactly what fits our culture and what we need. There's a lot of times that happens, and fit is important. Fit is very important, and now more than ever with what you got going on in the locker room between NIL portal, I'd rather have a guy that's been in my program 3 years and he's going to play the 4th year that stuck it out, that loved being there, than the guy that just transferred in and he might just be the same talent. He's coming in out of the portal. I want somebody that I developed. I mean, I spent 2 years coaching this kid. I want him to be able to. We're going to find out this year. The kids we coached, are they ready? Because we've had some kids coming up that are hopefully ready. We didn't have a lot of guys come out of the portal. Somebody told me today we're the only team in the country, Power 5, that didn't have a player come in from the portal.
University of Georgia head football coach Kirby Smart joining us here on the Fan 680-93.7 FM. How would you describe the room? We were talking earlier about people in charge and presidents, CEOs, college football coaches, people who have a lot of power and have a lot of responsibility. But the people around you, successful people don't want a whole lot of yes men. How do you assess the guys that you have on your staff as far as how they challenge you if there's disagreement on a player or on some things that have to be done when you ultimately have to make the final decision?
Well, I'm the same way. I appreciate a staff that has wisdom and is the ability to speak their mind, and I hope they feel that way because for me it's important. I've got valuable staff members, Dale McGee, Muschamp, Schumann, Monk, and all these guys that have been with us for a while and been around me. They know me, and they understand it's important that I get opinion. I probably ask more questions of my staff than most coaches because I love input. I love information. I may not agree with you, but I want your opinion because that's what I pay you to do. So when you get your opportunity to go over there and make the decision, you'll sit at the end of the head of the table and you'll have to make the decisions. But right now I'm making them, and I need input from you to make good decisions. And I feel like we're at a better place now from a staff standpoint than we've ever been at.
What is your confidence level moving forward? This is second year NIL, so nothing's in place for year 3 right now. Your confidence that something, a committee will get together, so we won't have it year 2. It doesn't look like we won't have it year 3. Your confidence level that it'll get done sooner than later.
Oh, boy, I'm not real confident that that's going to get fixed. I hope they could give us some guardrails. I hope they could give us something, but I'm not. When you say confident, I'm more confident in I'm going to be dealing with it and manage it than I am that it's going to be fixed.
All right, last one. Very quickly, if you spent 1 minute thinking about how the conference you'd like it to be aligned, divisions, who in each division, if you spent 1 minute, not one.
I got to worry about beating them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got zero control of that. They ask my input, I'll give them. And I love the 6-3 model because it keeps 3 rivalries and it gives us 9 games. I love that model. But the 7-1's pretty cool, too. It just takes away some rivalries. You rotate and play everybody faster that way. So I love a lot of those ideas. I love the idea of the conference getting bigger. But as far as worrying about it, nope.
Did it mean more beating Nick Saban for the Natty, for the national championship, than anybody else?
Not necessarily, because I don't look at it that way. I have a lot of respect for him. I appreciate what he meant for me and my family and my career. I would not be where I am without him. So for me, it was not about who was across there. It was about Georgia and us. And I always make it about us. It was special to the University of Georgia. Me and my wife went to school there. It didn't matter who was across that sideline. We won the national championship. That's big.
It is big, and it still will be one of the biggest things that a generation has seen. We thank you for your time, Coach. Look forward to talking to you. Know you're tired. Know you got a lot of things to go do, but we really appreciate your time stopping by 680 The Fan, and we wish you nothing but the best and look forward to talking to you down the road.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.